Okay, I think I'm back on camera. Yes, hello. Hey guys, it's Tom here, and if this could, if there's anyone actually out there watching this, I'll be amazed because I know this channel has been left for dead for quite a while, apart from a few sporadic reappearances. This being, well, I hope this isn't just a sporadic reappearance. I hope this is actually more of a return, actually, to making videos again more regularly. Because you know what, guys, I've really missed doing this. I've missed it a lot, and I've been on quite a ride the last few years, which has been amazing. But when I look back at things, I really regret stopping making YouTube videos more regularly. And it doesn't, that means, I've given up the hope of being a successful YouTuber or a vlogger or anything like that, but I realized it doesn't matter. I enjoyed doing this, and I believe I can give it another go and maybe have even more things to share. We'll see. So yeah, that's why I'm making this. And I wasn't sure how to make a video. I feel like I've made so many comeback videos or come back out the woodwork again and then disappeared. But I do actually have something to say in this video. But it takes a while to get the groove back, to get the groove in front of being in camera. If you've never seen this before, if you've never seen me before, my name's Tom, and I used to make videos on YouTube, I don't know, I think I started 5 years ago now, primarily about the Myers-Briggs type INFJ, of which I identify as, and I used to share my thoughts and feelings and things on this, whilst also just sharing my life and thoughts about life, the universe, and everything. And the topic of this video, why I felt inspired to actually dust my camera off and get it out and to make another video, is I want to talk about self-love, but I want to talk about self-love as coming from your soul, primarily coming from your soul. And the reason I want to talk about this is because recently I've been through a bit of a challenging time, to say the least, and it really drew me deeply into myself and into some pretty painful places internally. And I really had to go deep, and I've really had to look at my life. I've really had to kind of look at who I am. Like it's almost kind of like going through a bit of a, I wouldn't say midlife, I'm not midlife yet, and I wouldn't say it was quite a crisis, but it gave me a real means for reflection. It's like, where am I going? Like, what do I believe? What is it that maybe I've lost touch with, that maybe I took too much for granted in the past? And as I was doing some journaling, I was doing some stream of consciousness journaling. Again, if you're an INFJ, it's a very good thing to practice if you feel that you're stuck in life. The Artist's Way from Julia Cameron is a book that talks about this, about unblocking yourself. And something came through, and I was like, yes, that's it. That's the thing that I've lost touch with. That's the thing that I used to feel that I so kind of naturally embodied and had an intuition of. But I've lost touch with that. And what the words were, the courage of being. And then what that made me actually realize was how important it is for me. And this is what I'm going to share with you. But this is how important it is for me. How important it is for me to remind myself that what I am at my deepest nature is a soul. I am an eternal soul consciousness, part of the one multifaceted consciousness that most people refer to as God. And I'm experiencing myself here during this lifetime as this human personality, this human being, this guy called Tom. And that's the truth of who I am. That's the truth of what I believe. And I used to believe that a long time ago, but I had to have some first-hand experiences as well to really kind of like, this isn't just a belief, this is real. This is real. Spirituality, souls, all of that stuff, other dimensions, it's real, it exists. And yet it's so easy, and it was so easy for me in my day-to-day life to kind of slowly forget about it and to not remind myself and affirm myself of this. And I've been doing a lot of kind of healing work over the past few years. Got really involved in the kind of the conscious scene and of healing and being self-aware about parts of myself and doing a lot of this kind of inner work, which has been amazing and it's been transformative. But I found at some point during that journey, I became more and more kind of identified with myself as me, the human being, as Tom, the human being, as me, the experiences I had as a child, the experiences I had maybe when I was 2 years old, how has this affected me? You know, really getting into that place of kind of trying to uncover every single stone and try and see through every shadow that has existed or exists within me, trying to feel every emotion that maybe got stuck in my body at some point. And it's been a deep journey, amazing deep journey, and I really threw myself into it, and it's still a journey. But going through something recently brought something very painful up, very painful. And going through that made me realize that I still sometimes struggle to find that place of real self-love and self-acceptance. It was still easy for me to go into a place of self-judgment and self-chastisement, and not be so loving towards myself. And it started to frustrate me. It's like, gosh, I've done so much of this work and still it doesn't seem to kind of like land. Still, it seems to struggle. And also like, gosh, it's kind of, am I just going to be doing this the rest of my life? Like, what's the meaning of this? You know, it's supposed to, what I realized was maybe I was hoping that I was going to find this place of perfection, of healed peace inside of myself, of complete self-love inside of myself, if I just did this work enough. But what I've now come to remember is actually how important it is for me and how powerful it is to me to remember the importance of how I'm identifying myself and what I'm identifying myself as. Because the more that I identify myself as purely a human being with all of these issues, all of these possible things that happened, and you can just keep going and going, it's becoming like a bottomless pit. And we all have it. We all have our baggage. The more I identify like this, I find there's a point where it can feel quite disempowering. I can struggle with it. It can all get too heavy. It can all get too burdensome. And I struggle to sometimes see through to the light. But when I remember the truth of what I actually am beyond my human experience, what I was before I was born, what I'll be after I die, when I remember that I am a soul and I am connected to that eternity, for eternity, and that I'm here experiencing myself as that consciousness, subjectively, as this being, something changes inside of me. Something massively changes. And what changes is I start to feel a sense of courageousness. I start to feel the courage of my soul. And I realize that is the energy. That is the part of myself that for a long time I felt the most connected to intuitively, but I was uncertain how to physically embody it. But when I'm in this place, it's like suddenly any issues I may be experiencing, any things that I feel I want to heal, I want to move through, I want to integrate into my life, it becomes so much easier when I'm identifying myself primarily as a soul having this experience, and I get to move through it rather than just being little me, being Tom with all of his things, limiting beliefs and past traumas and whatever that he feels that holds him back, and feeling overwhelmed by it at times, and feeling it's a means to feel a victim at times to life. And I realized for the past few years, I really lost touch with this courage of my soul and with self-identifying myself with this, because I stopped expressing it. I stopped expressing it through videos like this. I stopped expressing it in my life. I found myself in positions where I was giving my voice and power and opinion away, listening too much to others, following advice that wasn't right for me. And it's just reminded me how powerful it is to always come back to that place. So I'm making this video as a means to hopefully just remind you and to inspire you to try to find that within you. That you are a soul and you are part of this existence and you have a unique part to play and you have a body, and that personality has also gone through its own journey of individualization through your lifetime. And to bring those two aspects of yourself together, to unite them. Because I'm not talking about, just start identifying yourself as soul and spirit and it's all going to be fine. It's all roses, yo. I'm not talking about spiritual bypassing here. No, I'm talking about the opposite. I'm talking about, don't forget that part of you is the truth of your essence and the truth of your being. It's what it gives your being its life. It's the life essence that is permeating from the soul, the spiritual plane outwards into this physical plane. That is where you truly come from. And that is where, in moments of your life where you draw on immense life energy, in those special moments, that's where you're drawing it from. That is the deepest place of self-belief, the deepest place. That's why I call it soul courage. And you can unite that with your human experience. And then something magical happens. What happens is life starts to become that incredibly vibrant, filled, joyful place of opportunity and wonder again. Because when you start to identify yourself as being soul consciousness, primarily soul consciousness before anything else, and you'll always be that, suddenly you realize that this life is more like an interactive dream world that is the product of spirit. And therefore we don't have to take it as seriously as maybe we often do when we're just purely aligned and identifying with being our human selves. And we naturally come more into a state of presence. We come more into a state of beingness. We're more just here. Because when you just come from this place of, I am eternal consciousness coming through this body into this world, suddenly you're just in the moment. And you realize that this life is a miracle. It's a one-off. This one right now that you're living, it's a one-off. It won't ever happen again. So instead of shying away from the challenges of life, or shying away from the difficulties that maybe you experience, emotional difficulties, whatever it might be, feelings, uncomfortable feelings in your body, in certain situations, difficulties in expressing yourself, difficulties in finding your passion or whatever it might be, difficulties in relationship. If you always come back to this place of soul, remind yourself, and you start to love yourself as that, it's so much easier then to go fully and more deeply into those difficulties and transmute them and transcend them by going fully into them without identifying your identity so heavily to them and then not becoming victimized by them or allowing parts of the psyche and the shadow which have developed over time to maybe be those negative voices, to not take those seriously either, because there's something deeper inside of you that sees through all of it. It shines a light on all of it. And I'm finding for myself that this is like the most enlivening thing for me to remind myself about. The most enlivening thing for me to remind myself about. And that we live in this world now that seems to be becoming more and more uncertain. It seems to be becoming more unstable. And I believe because there's a change happening. I know there's a change happening. There is a schism and a rift forming between the old world and the new world. And I believe the new world is going to be a world where this type of awareness of the unification of spirit and matter, of soul and the physical, into one harmonious way of being, where we look at each other not as competition, not as individuals to be feared for, not to fight over for the last piece of food or whatever it might be, in that world of survival. But we look at each other as soul sisters, as soul brothers, as soul non-binaries, whatever it is you identify as. We look at each other as essentially being reflections of the same reality, the same spiritual reality. And when we realize that we can live in a world of abundance, a world where we thrive, a world where we encourage each other, knowing that we are each other to become the greatest versions and therefore create a much more enjoyable world to live in. We can bring this world back into the state of the Garden of Eden of which it used to be, when humans had not lost contact with their spiritual consciousness. The other side of this world is the world that is holding on to the old way of being, the old identification, the fear of death, the scarcity, the fight for survival, just the purely physical and animalistic part of our being and consciousness. And that world will get more fearful as things seem to become more unstable, and it will start to fall away, and it will be quite a time of turbulence, and we shall experience that and move through it in our lifetimes. So what I'm saying is, now is an amazing time to start to re-identify yourself and remember what you truly are. You're a soul. You're an eternal soul. You're part of God. At your deepest core, you are God. You're just God experiencing itself subjectively through the unique viewpoint of your identity. And use that and remind yourself of that every morning when you get up, because you have that power inside of you, and you have that confidence inside of you to just be in the fullest way that you can be. And it doesn't mean you have to always, it's about being brash and being wow, like some kind of superstar. Although if that's what your soul wants to do through you, do it. But it also means just finding that peace and presence and enjoyment through the subtlety of realizing that this is just a miracle. And you're right here. You're right now. You're a soul who has this body that you can move, that you can dance with, that you can express through. That's amazing. That's amazing. And you'll find you get back that enthusiasm for life again. So give it a go. Remember, true self-love is soul love, and use that love of your soul to find the courage to really unite yourself into this physical human experience to the fullest possible degree that you can. Okay, I think I've said everything I need to say for now. I know this is a bit of I've just thrown a lot on you for this video that I've come back for a while, and it's like, whoa, what the hell's happened to Tom, man? What's going on? But yeah, I'm just feeling a lot of passion right now about this. So I really hope to continue making more videos and maybe go a bit more in depth about what is helping me to be in this myself, because teaching something is the greatest way of embodying it. Yeah. Okay. Spiritual pep talk over, guys. Hope you have a lovely day. Remember, as crazy as the world is, we got this, We've come here to have this experience. We're eternal, multi-dimensional beings. It ain't no biggie, yo. It's going to be a wild ride, but it's going to be an adventure, and I hope to be there along with you. So stay tuned. I promise, I'm saying it, air quotes here, I promise that I'm going to make more videos more regularly, because I love doing this. I love expressing myself. I love sharing my thoughts, my passion, my voice, my ideas, and hopefully inspiring others who come across that. Peace. Much love to you.